Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. I'm really excited to share with you guys our service manual. I've written it on many videos all through the years and years that we've been posting that we wrote the book on rainwater drainage. And I'm going to show you that we did. We actually give this manual to our service reps, and they must complete the course and they take a test. And they are so qualified. When they come knock on your door, you can trust anything that they say because they are so qualified in what they have learned and the experience that I've brought to the table. You're going to be able to, as a DIY, you'll be able to do these jobs yourself. You're going to understand what works, what doesn't work, how much things cost, how to get labor, all kinds of things. Downspout drains, French drains, yard drains. The list is endless for rainwater drainage, and it's probably the most important part of all of your property, of all your investment. It protects your home, it protects your yard, your landscaping, and you've spent literally hundreds of thousands for your home. So I hope that you enjoy the series, and when you complete all of these videos and take the test, you'll be qualified rainwater drainage service personnel. So I'm going to start with one video every week, or as often as I can do it. We're really busy, but I stay up late and I work on the videos, starting with basement exterior waterproofing. And why don't I start with French drains? Well, let's start with basement exterior waterproofing because it's all going to apply. And as you go through these videos, you'll see how simple it really is to solve a drainage problem.
Basement waterproofing, signs and symptoms. Number 1, efflorescence. Number 2, stress cracks. Number 3, mold and mildew. Number 4, flooding. Number 5, foundation damage. Efflorescence. This is sodium, a salt reaction that builds up on the surface of a block or brick, masonry materials. This is a telltale sign of a water problem. Is it mold or efflorescence? Mold can only grow on organic material. When you see efflorescence on your block, your brick, your floor, your stucco, or coming up through the grout, that means there's a water problem and it really needs to be addressed. Efflorescence, is a salt reaction that builds up on the surface of masonry materials. When you see this, does that mean you have a water problem? Well, it definitely means that you've got some moisture and you really should take a look. Stress cracks are formed by movement between the footer and the foundation wall. Some people call this settling, but it's actually water that causes the wall to move. This is a telltale sign of a water problem, and it should be addressed immediately. Mold and mildew. Mold growth happens when there's a high moisture content in your basement. Water in the block, under the floor, or outside the wall will cause the frame construction to get wet and mold will grow. Mold can grow on any organic surface, including carpet, sheetrock, and wood. It could be behind the walls, or under the carpet, or in the ceiling. Water in the floor and block can cause mold. Mildew, like algae, can grow on inorganic materials. Siding turns green, tile turns black, and even stucco can show signs of mildew. These are all signs of high moisture in the walls and floor. Mold is nasty stuff, and we'll talk about the black mold and other mold issues in the crawlspace section. Flooding. Water on your floor should tell you that you have a water problem. Don't panic. I promise it can be solved. Hopefully, after you have watched this video, you'll understand how to fix your water problem. Water follows the path of least resistance. Concrete is actually a very porous material, so water can come in the basement almost anywhere. Sometimes water just comes up along the baseboards. Other times it might be in the middle of the basement. Flooding tells us there's a water problem and it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. Again, don't panic. It can be fixed. The good news, once you watch this video, you'll have the skills to do this job yourself and understand the waterproofing process. Foundation damage. Like stress crack symptoms, Foundation problems present in many forms. The footer can crack, sink, even crumble. This is all from water. Water coming through the wall or the floor can sometimes mean a footer problem. When water has no place to go, it creates pressure, and that pressure pushes water through the floor and the walls. Okay, I know there's a lot of text and a lot of reading here in the first part of the video, but before we get into how to, let's talk about cost of interior versus exterior waterproofing. The biggest cost of exterior waterproofing is labor, because we're digging down so deep to get to that footer. This is where the DIY can save a lot of money because he's doing it himself. If you're going to pay a contractor to dig down 8 or 10 feet to that footer, those costs are going to add up very quickly. Be sure to watch the next chapter of Apple Drains' notebook on basement waterproofing.
Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.
Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we are waterproofing the basement walls of a church. Water has been coming through the walls into their meeting rooms down below. This is a fairly deep excavation. We're going to get down there about 8 feet. And as we started the excavation, what we found was someone had poured a sidewalk, and we have to remove that sidewalk. Basically, someone came in and they backfilled trying to fix the negative grade. Backfill doesn't work. And so we have to dig down this wall, and you can see I got the crew out here. We're just picking up the rubble. Had to break that sidewalk up and remove it before we could even start the excavation. Someone had poured a sidewalk right up against the foundation wall trying to fix negative grade. And of course that didn't work. So then the next chairman of the board came in and said, let's go ahead and backfill the area and see if we can get this water to move away from the area. Of course that didn't work. So we're out here digging, and we pulled away the first little bit of soil, and we found that sidewalk. We've got to break that out and remove that before we can even begin this excavation. If you live in an older home, say 1940s, it's very possible that you'll find a sidewalk buried under that soil. That's why we're showing this clip. And we've got to remove all this concrete, all the rubble, haul it away, and then we can actually begin our excavation. We're going to get down there about 8 feet, and we're going to get down to the footer. The footer is where the problem exists, not there at the surface. Negative grade, trying to fix it with soil and concrete is not going to solve the problem. You've really got to get down to the footer. This is where all that labor comes in, and the DIYer can save a great deal of money doing this labor himself. Basement footers are very deep, and if you're not getting down to the footer before you install your French drain, we call it a footer pipe, you're going to have problems. So many videos out here are showing you digging down this wall only a few feet and putting in a French drain. This is going to cause more problems than you can imagine. You've got to get down to the footer. This takes some time. You can see the guys. I've got 4 guys out here digging, and we're doing this by hand. The soil is rock hard clay, and we are digging this down. You can see we've got down to the footer. When you find the footer, there's no doubt that you found the footer. We need to lay our footer pipe alongside the footer, and this is going to have a sump pump to lift it up and send it out to daylight. Our notebook is filled with how-to tips and things that work and things that don't work. For example, can you see the downspout drain? This downspout drain probably caused more problems here than anything else. The downspout drain was just splashed out onto the ground. All of that water from the roof, remember this is a church. This has got 8,000 square feet of roof, and all of that water came right down into the basement. The downspout drain is the most important drain in any rainwater drainage system. The sump pump is best used to remove water when there's no fall or gravity for discharge. It's fast, quiet, and very reliable. We use Zoller pumps, most commonly model M98 submersible with a 1/2 horsepower motor. It has an 1.5-inch discharge line and a check valve to prevent backflow. To date, we have never been back to replace one of these pumps. That's not to say they last forever, but they do last a long time. The sump pit, the liner, is 24 inches deep, surrounded by gravel to promote drainage into the pit. The pit is large enough to allow water to gather for the pump to lift out. It comes with a solid lid cover to help reduce moisture and radon gas as well. We use a core bit to drill through the foundation wall. The hole is usually 2 inches, which allows the perfect fit for 1.5-inch PVC pipe to be inserted. It's a perfect fit. We can core walls, foundations, and curbs. These notes are from our handbook. We actually give this handbook to every employee, and they learn everything that you're learning right now, so they become qualified technicians, and that's what you will become after watching these videos. Learn how to clean and repair, replace and install every part of the rainwater drainage system, only here at Apple Drains.